In this episode, you're going to find out how to set a standard and maintain it. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? My name's Michael Sahno, and welcome to the Sea and Land Fitness Podcast. Now, this podcast is brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness. You can find us at www.sandlfit.com. That's sandlfit.com. If you want to start your military endurance fitness journey. Okay, hey, what's going on? Got a little fumbled that opening right there. What was that? I have so much stuff going on right now that it's a wonder I can even keep my brain straight. It's a wonder I can keep just the general thoughts that are going through my head straight. So what are we talking about this episode? We are welcome back. And we are talking about standards. Standards. Now, what are standards? So I have recently been working on my mission statement because we're doing all this big expansion for the company, Sea and Land Fitness. We're doing all these things that is going to bring revenue into the company. And that revenue is going to be dumped back into the company to get more product, get more better equipment, all that stuff. So when you're thinking about doing that, they tell you, come up with a business plan. And I had to come up with a business plan. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Peter Madeira, this is for you. So I had to come up with a business plan. So I had to figure out what the core values of the business are. And this actually turned into a tremendous opportunity for me to evaluate not only my values for the company, but my personal values and inject those into, is that the right way to put it? I don't know. And inject my values into the company. And therefore, since we're looking at sports psychology and goal setting and all that, values become an integral part of how successful we are, not just at goals, but at every little thing, every tiny thing that we do. Our values paint, we see everything through the lens of our values. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss, so we're talking about standard. So I'm going to read you an excerpt from my business plan. So what is the standard? So in the 12th century, the word standard meant a conspicuous object such as a banner, formerly carried at the top of a pole and used to mark a rallying point, especially in battle or to serve as an emblem. So it's a flag, like a battle flag or something like that. Just so you guys get an understanding of what it is, a battle flag back during, let's take Civil War. Battle flags were important because they told you where your commander was. They told you where to look for direction if you couldn't hear it. So it's goes all the way back to the 12th century. And in 1532, a meaning to this word standard was added to include constituting or conforming to a standard, especially as established by law or custom. So a standard was something that it was a bar that you went to Yeah, bar that you went to. No, not that kind of bar, you bozos. It was a bar that you would have to reach and maintain throughout your tenure, throughout your time in a unit, organization, something. So there's a standard at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's years ago when I was in high school. One of the greatest jobs I ever had. So to all of you who are out there working in fast food, you're doing the Lord's work. I love you guys. Um, but there was a standard. There was a uniform standard. You had to wear your uniform. You had to be on time. Um, and that goes for just about everything, especially in the military. There's a standard, a fitness standard, a uniform standard, an appearance standard, grooming standard. All of the, which I don't know if you can see if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening, you can't see my stubble or beard. But if you're on YouTube, yes, my grooming standards have kind of laxed over time. So that's what a standard is. Just to give you an idea, it's the expectation that you hold for how you want to present yourself, how you want to carry yourself. And for some people, I mean, this even look at gangs have a standard. Okay, so back in the day, the Crips and the Bloods, I'm not judging, I'm just bringing up some history, used to be bandanas, red bandanas and blue bandanas, and that was a standard, that was an object that showed who you were. A badge, let's look at the flip side. A badge is a standard. Blue lights on a car, that's a standard that shows you societally these are police. So a standard is both something to be seen and something to be expressed, and something, it can be both a noun, an adjective, probably a verb too, right? I am well, when you standardize something, you are creating the standard, that hence the word standardize. So found that verb, hopefully I did, and there's some English lit person who's going to just come at me with nunchucks and take me down a peg. So anyways, I digress. Another sip of coffee right there, sorry about that. So standard. So I had to come up with a standard for my company. I had to come up with a standard for my programs. And it's interesting when all this started to happen, because I was, for those of you who don't know, I'm in the Hudson Valley of New York, across the river from West Point. So I spend quite a bit of time over at West Point. So I was thinking about these benches. They have these benches all over the place, or in this area that overlooks the Hudson River. It's absolutely beautiful. And on those benches, there are 12 of them. And what are the 12 core values? So here we go. They have a set of principles at West Point. They have the honor code. I promise to not lie, cheat, or steal, or brook any hoodoo. So that is their standard. But within that, they also have these principles of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. And that immediately took me back to when I was in the Army. And when I was in the Army, there was this campaign, this internal campaign that was going on, about the warrior ethos. So there were a bunch of different things that were happening to try to change the grunt of World War II, Korea and Vietnam, into this warrior. Okay. And warrior fitness was one of the things that they were doing, where they were looking at something called the tactical athlete, which is where we are now, where they would apply scientific principles to training, um, in order to get the most physically out of a soldier. And to push the limits that the soldier could push themselves to. But something that went along with that, because it's you don't just do these things, work harder in a vacuum. You need some type of mental component that pushes you. And they came up with the Army values. Okay, and the Army values were these couple of words: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Well, where did we hear that before? Similarly, we hear that same thing from West Point. So those are standards for West Point officers, future officers, cadets, and then Army values. So those are standards for individuals who are serving in the Army. Back when I was in the infantry, and I was always kind of really moved by that. I was always really kind of, yeah, gotta have loyalty, duty, and I would gauge, you know, my actions based on those principles. Is doing that loyal? Is doing that? Am I maintaining integrity by making this decision? Am I being selfless, or am I being selfish? So, from all of these core values at West Point and the core values that the Army has, um, and had broadcast when I was in the Army, um, I was able to come up with my core values for my company, which are actually core values that I would hope that I hold. So hold on, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. And I'm going to go through them right now with you. And they are 7 what I call principles and values for sea and land fitness. And they are dedication, discipline, determination, perseverance, responsibility, honesty, and self-awareness. Now, I know as soon as I tell you guys those, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to make sure they're up on the screen. Dedication, discipline, determination, perseverance, they all kind of sound the same. Okay? They do. They all sound the same. But they're not. They are absolutely not, and they are different aspects of what I would expect from someone who wanted to be successful at changing their lives for the better. Okay? So I have these hiccups. I'm sorry. I just took another sip of coffee. I hope it's going to go away. Now, I'm going to define all of these 7 principles. And as I define them, for some of you, you're going to go, wow, I didn't know that meant that. That's interesting. I might have been using the word incorrectly. Or I always thought that it meant just this. Or I thought that these 2 words meant the same thing. So we're going to run through them right now, all right? So, dedication, number 1. Dedication is self-sacrificing devotion and loyalty. That means no matter what, even if I have to not do what I want to do, I'm going to make sure I do it. And I'm going to be loyal to that no matter what. So that's what dedication is. Discipline is restraint exercised over one's impulses, emotions, and desires. So discipline is, well, I want to do that, but I'm not going to. Oh, I want to feel that, but I'm gonna refrain from feeling that. Oh, I want that. No, you know what? I'm not gonna have that. So discipline is the ability for you to overcome your impulses, emotions, and desires. And we all have different levels of discipline with different things. So there's that. Then there's determination, dedication and determination. Dedication, self-sacrificing devotion and loyalty, is often confused with determination. So determination simply means a firm or fixed intention to achieve a desired end. So this is going to happen. That's all there is to it. There's no question. This is what's going to happen. And that's determination. Dedication is always, mixed up with determination, but they do. You can see they mean two different things. Now determination and perseverance are, again, confused, but they're different. So determination is a firm or fixed intention to achieve a desired end. This is going to happen. Perseverance is continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. I'm going to keep doing it. It's going to happen in the end. So determination is, this is going to happen, but that's just intention. Perseverance is the action. Okay. So one is an intention and the other is, this is happening because I'm going to start right now. And that continued effort, okay, is perseverance. Now, responsibility is the quality or state of being able to answer for one's conduct and obligations. What does that mean? I did that. Yeah, but you screwed it up. I understand, but I did that. That is something that you don't often see very often. You don't often see. That's something you don't see very often. I try to be horribly responsible for everything. Sometimes it weighs on me a little bit, but I would rather be responsible for everything than irresponsible and something happened. You know what I mean? So responsibility for me is huge. Own it. You did it. The next one is honesty. Now, responsibility and honesty are similar, but they're not the same. Now, honesty simply means fairness and straightforwardness of conduct. Okay, what does that mean? That means being objective in the sense that this is what happened. This is it. Honesty doesn't mean, a lot of people think honesty is telling the truth. If you're responsible, you will be honest. So if you are taking accountability for what occurred, then you are being honest about what occurred, meaning you're just being objective. This is what happened. This is how it happened. Responsibility and honesty work together, but they don't mean the same thing. honesty doesn't necessarily mean, well, I can't think of an instance when it's not, but a lot of people think honesty and the truth are the same. Um, so just being honesty is, what happened here? Oh, this happened, and then that person did that, and that's how it happened. You know what I mean? So you're just explaining something objectively. You're just uh, being fair when you look at something. So on take an example would be two people doing something, and a race or something like that, or an event. And being honest would be accounting for everything person A did and accounting for everything person B did, and just giving that information forward, not necessarily coming up with who won, but being an honest arbiter, being an honest observer, okay? Being someone who observes things fairly and straightforwardly. Um, and then the last one, this one for me is one of the most important. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is an awareness of one's own impulses, emotions, or desires. Now, I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and I want to sit on this one for a second, because self-awareness is the one thing that almost all of us lack. And it requires an ability to step outside of yourself and observe yourself. I'll give you an example. So I had bought sweet tea for my wife and my son, and my son put it in the refrigerator, and it spilled when I went and pulled the milk out because of where he put it. He put it in a place where it could easily be knocked out. So I lost it. I totally lost my shit. I don't understand why you can't put things in there. I don't understand why you can't just move something around, take 2 seconds, blah, 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 blah. You do this every single time. Jeez, what is this crap? Now, floor sticky, this is how you get ants. So I lost it. I totally did. And then I cooled off. You know, I was like, seriously, I was heated. I was like, you need to go upstairs. I don't even want to see you right now because I'm afraid I'm going to say something and I don't want to regret it. So I went upstairs, and while I was upstairs, I thought about it, and thank God I was able to be self-aware enough to know that I was a piece of shit, that I was being a real dick. So I called him downstairs. I said, hey, look, here is what happened. So this is going to sound like I'm going to blame you, but to start with, you put this in the wrong place. And did you take the time to move things around and put it in the place where I normally put drinks like this so it doesn't fall out? He said, no, I didn't. I said, no, you didn't. But was my reaction appropriate? Well, I mean, I did put it. I said, hold on. I appreciate that you're taking responsibility for this, but was my reaction appropriate? Did I overreact? Yeah, you kind of overreacted. I said, I absolutely overreacted. Do you want to know why? Because I knocked that sweet tea over. I spilled that sweet tea. That sweet tea wasn't spilled by you. I could have taken 2 seconds to move it, to rearrange things and put it in a better spot. I most likely saw it before I pulled the milk out, and I could have stopped this entire process, this entire mess from happening. So I probably got angry at you because I did it and didn't want to take accountability for it, and might have subconsciously been embarrassed by the fact that I did it. So I apologized to him and I said, I'm sorry. But in the future, could you move it and put it in a better place? And I promise I will do what I can to not lose my shit next time. So self-awareness is not only, it's not only examining the negative things that you do, the negative experiences that you have that are, begin with you. But it is a big part of self-awareness. And the more that we can be self-aware of those shitty behaviors that we have, the more we can be self-aware of our lazy inclinations, the more self-aware we can be of our negative emotions, the quicker it is to overcome them, the quicker it is for them to evaporate, and the quicker it is to start maintaining a level of conduct that represents us better socially. So, in short, that's what these 7 principles are all about. It's about, well, I have it written here. It's about being a benefit to our nation, being a benefit to our families and friends, and being a benefit to our communities. And it's why these 7 principles and values: dedication, discipline, determination, perseverance, responsibility, honesty, and self-awareness are so important, because they will help us be better people emotionally, physically, and socially. And wow, that was a big, heavy message. But that's the message. That's what I got for you. All right. That's it. That's the standard. That's the standard I hope to maintain. And that's the standard that I'd love for you guys to maintain. I'm going to put this up on the website. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to find it there. As I say this, I'm kicking myself in the ass because I haven't done it yet. But I will be putting it up there on the website. Yeah, actually, I'll probably do that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll just knock out like a section on the homepage for the principles. Or maybe I'll just do a whole page on the principles. But yeah. All right. That is all that I've got for you guys. That is this episode. Head on over to www.sandlfit.com. That's sandlfit.com. We've got newsletter coming out in October. I literally got an invoice for Sunto watches, so they're coming. So if you order them, it'll go out in the next couple of days. We've got hats. You can see all the hats back there. We have got, what else do we got? The bumper stickers, Burn the Ships. I got some prototype sweatshirts coming. And when those get here and get all done, we're going to do the videos. I know you keep saying you're going to do the videos, but yes, we are going to do the videos. And yeah, we got a ton of stuff coming down the pipeline. So go on over and check it out. That's all I got for you. Later.